And so we've reached the summit. Call it boring, call it unpredictable, call it whatever you want. After 8 weeks of war, we've gone from 16 hopefuls down to the final 2. So who are the combatants who reached this point? And how rocky was the road they took to get here? Well, storming out of the east, come the Carolina Hurricanes. Finally freed from the shackles of the Rangers and Panthers, the Hurricanes have surged through to reach the finals. And without the threat of those two teams hanging over them, Carolina would walk through the Eastern Conference on their way here. The Sens seemed like a tricky matchup on paper. They're getting the goaltending they wanted. Swept aside without even trailing once. The Flyers, riding high after a win over their biggest rival, even put them on the back foot early. Still not even close. The Habs, fresh off back-to-back Game 7 wins, all the momentum in the world, even took Game 1 on the road. Utter domination the rest of the way. The Hurricanes have made it here on pure merit, and they've made it look easy. With performances this team has shown in the past, it's unsurprising to see them finally make a run like this. What is surprising is just who's shown up for them. Their top line of Svechnikov, Aho, and Jarvis have been mostly ineffective these playoffs. However, breakout performances from Blake, Stankoven, plus a throwback showing from Taylor Hall have been more than enough to carry the offensive load. Add on the additions of Keandre Miller, Nikolai Ehlers, and an already threatening core becomes even more potent. But the biggest surprise has definitely been Frederik Andersen. He's rolled back the years and returned to his peak form, in many ways even surpassing it. His dominance has been pivotal on their run into the finals. The Hurricanes have waited 20 years to make it back and don't look to be slowing down anytime soon. But they still have one more step to climb, as marching on from the west are the Vegas Golden Knights. Only 3 years removed from their previous triumph, the Golden Knights are back in the finals and are looking to take back their throne. Unlike the Hurricanes, however, their run here wasn't quite as straightforward. Their first 2 series against the Mammoth and Ducks saw slight hiccups. Between the early series deficit to Utah and the resilience shown by Anaheim, there was genuine potential that they could have fallen in either matchup. Ultimately, it was their playoff experience that pulled them through in the end. It prepared them well, though, as when they were matched up against another contender in the Avalanche, they proved their mettle and swept them aside in dominating fashion. While they're no longer the Golden Misfits anymore, that hasn't stopped the Knights from embracing similar philosophies with the current team. While many questioned the Cassidy firing and subsequent hiring of John Tortorella, his guidance has helped to unlock a side of the Knights that we hadn't seen during the regular season. Then came Mitch Marner. Finally freed from the dark times he had in Toronto, he's found a role as a prominent star in Vegas' forward group and silenced a lot of the doubters as well. And lastly, there's Carter Hart. He's been good. Combine all these additions with an already proven team with cup-winning experience, and you got yourself the recipe for what is shown to be a championship-caliber team. And with that, we were finally set. 2 teams on the cusp of glory. One looking to cement themselves, one looking to shed their demons, both hoping to troll Toronto, and one last series to decide it all. Carolina would get off to an explosive start, as Nikolai Ehlers would come flying out of the gate with 2 goals in the first, but Vegas would counter with 3 unanswered to take the lead. The back-and-forth affair would continue until late in the third, where Tomas Hertl would break the deadlock and give the Knights the lead for good. In what could be seen as a sign of things to come, first blood went to Vegas. In Game 2, it would be Vegas who'd get off to the better start. They jumped to a 2-0 lead and hold it for the majority of the game, but with 10 minutes left in the third and possibly sensing the gravity of the moment, the Hurricanes rallied to score 3 straight to take the lead and the momentum with it. So even with Vegas scoring late to tie it, you had a feeling that it was still going to come up Carolina's way. And it did, with Seth Jarvis stamping his mark on the finals as he would score the OT winner to even the series. We'd be all tied up heading to Vegas. I feel confident in saying that this was the best finals game I've ever watched. After an interesting first half which saw 2 goals called back, Vegas would explode for 4 unanswered in the second, including a natural hat trick for Marner. It seemed like the Knights were going to cruise back into the series lead, and then 7 minutes and 39 seconds into the third, the Hurricanes would claw the deficit back down to 1 and steal all the momentum away. So fittingly, after a late equalizer from Svechnikov, we were off to our 2nd straight overtime. And after a very entertaining first extra period which saw both teams missing on chances to win, eventually Vegas would catch a break. A bounce off the boards would find its way in and disaster would be avoided. Advantage back to the Knights. With Anderson's surprising fall-off, the Canes would turn to Brandon Bussey to hopefully change their fortunes. And while he performed okay given the fact that it was his first career playoff start, thankfully, he wasn't the story. Because 17 years on from his last finals appearance, 37-year-old Jordan Staal decided that now was the time to have the performance of his life. With 2 goals, including the game winner, and 5 goals through the first 4 games, the captain made his mark on the series in a big way. Combined with Carter Hart setting records of his own in the wrong way, and Carolina was able to come out with a crucial Game 4 win. We were all square once again. Back in the familiar confines of Lenovo Center, the Canes would look to push the series to the brink. And with all the criticism they'd faced, it was finally time for the big boys to step up, as Sebastian Aho and Andrei Svechnikov would arrive in the finals with a bang. 3 goals combined between the pair of them to silence the doubters, and combined with a vintage defensive performance, Carolina would smother Vegas' offense. Not even 3 separate delay of game penalties was enough to break through. Match point, Hurricanes. And with a chance to end the series and to claim the title everyone knew they were capable of, the Hurricanes played the most dominant game of the finals. Vegas was barely able to generate anything offensively, and even when they did, Bussey would shut them out at every turn. The years of underachieving were over. They didn't need a superstar anymore, only the guys who stuck around. The process had paid off, and the pain of losing was washed away in the storm. The Carolina Hurricanes were Stanley Cup champions.